Hello? Can you guys hear me? Sorry, this is my first day using this mic, so I gotta make sure you guys can hear me. Does everything sound okay? Okay, so I figured I'd start out by showing you guys the brushes I normally use for drawing, and also for coloring, you know. Yeah, I'm coloring a koga for it's Suki's species. It's adorable. Wild Rice did the art. I love them so much. I love deers, so I figured I'd start out with that, and I have the palette in the background that I'm going to be using. So yeah, I use the pencil tool here for like doing swirls and stuff, you know. That's not an actual swirl, but yeah, settings are fairly normal. I mean, I don't think I really played with them very much. Let's see. Yeah, just here they are. Take a screenshot if you'd like it. Go back to the VOD if you want to see these. Those are my settings for the brush, and then I ain't the pencil, or pen, I guess, but you know, whatever it is. And then I have the brush here, and that's the tool I use most frequently. I use it for blending, I use it for painting that thing you guys saw earlier in the intro. I use the brush entirely for that. I have these settings here, and the advanced settings are below, and I will move this down so you can see it. And I mostly just mess with the density a lot. Sometimes while shading I'll have it at even 100%. I play with that a lot. It's just kind of trial and error. Lower is better for blending. Higher is better for sharper lines. I sometimes touch the water tool, but not generally, because I feel like it kind of gets rid of this kind of painting feel that I really enjoy in my coloring. So, mostly use the brush for blending. So, yeah, if you guys... blending, I like blending. It's nice for, mixing the colors, I suppose. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna just start coloring. If you guys have any questions, I'll answer them as they come up. The stream does lag a bit, so there might be some like time before I respond. It'll be a little awkward to deal with, but yep. So working on a commission for Itzel, and the palette was given to me, so I'm trying to minimize this. So that's how those colors were chosen. Normally when I choose my own palettes, I just look at Color Lovers. I have a large collection of favorite palettes. I spend hours on that site just favoriting things, so I can refer to them later and come back to it. So yeah, just kind of adding some lighter colors. I generally really mess around with colors I enjoy. Yeah, Design Seed is also very good for colors, and I mean, you could even just do colors from photos. I have one I'm going to work on a little bit later where I'm going to be taking the colors from a photo of a horse. So that'll be fun. I am using a tablet right now. I have a Wacom in 204, and it's quite a few years old. It's not the wireless version. It lasts pretty well. The nibs do. It eats nibs really bad. So that is something to watch out if you're buying that tablet. Yes, there are wireless tablets. Wacom has them. My lab partner Riri just got a wireless Wacom in 205, which I'm pretty jealous about. So, yeah. Yeah, so I haven't really figured out exactly what markings I want to do on this. I mean, I personally don't really... changing topics here. I personally don't really trust wireless things. I mean, I guess I'm just kind of old-fashioned like that, I suppose. I do have a wireless mouse that I use while browsing. It's Oyster mouse because I have carpal tunnel and it's ergonomic. So I always start things out when I start drawing by just adding a lot of very soft gradients, and I also always take the shading off generally, unless it's like really heavy shading. Like sometimes if you're coloring something that like Osham shaded and the shading's really dark and really changes the design a lot, I often will leave that on so I can see it while I'm coloring. But I just like to add a lot of gradients at first while I think about what I'm trying to do, and yeah, just kind of color and erase, color and erase. Itzel requested that I do a lot of swirls and lacy designs on this, so I'm going to be showing something very intricate, and I do kind of mimic shading and highlights and stuff like that when doing gradients, because I feel like it just kind of adds more depth. So yeah, I will start out generally by trying to kind of think about what I want to do and also rotating the palette a lot. I said I was going to be doing swirls and lace and flowers. So a lot of times I start out just kind of by doing a swirl that goes kind of in this general direction. I tend to resort to that. The vector pen tool is something I use for line arting now, just because I have trouble. But generally I'll just freehand swirls. I mean, this stuff is, it ends up at 200x, so it really doesn't matter exactly how your line quality is, I suppose. And if you spend a lot of time focusing on the details, they get lost, and then you get frustrated. There's all these things. Yeah, you get very angry. So there's that. Itzel is suggesting checking the palette tag on Pinterest for people who will be watching the stream after the fact and won't be able to see the chat. This is Suki's species. It was done by Wild Rice. I don't know if PSD sales are open right now. They were 30 GP when they were open. Yeah. So yeah, it's called Koga. If you want to look them up in the Silver Species database. I know that Suki has a thread for them as well. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm probably gonna have a really hard time talking and also drawing at the same time. Right now I'm just kind of doing a random lacy pattern just to kind of start out. I might end up deleting this later because I'll change my mind and decide I didn't really like what I ended up doing. Someone asked previously what the hardest edit slash line art commission I'd ever done was. And to that I'd probably say one time I was asked to edit a fence into a Quetzalcoatl, kind of a snakish look. And turning a bird into a snake was a little hard. For me, it took a lot of effort. And it wasn't exactly, you know, the happiest commission ever, but I feel like in the end it turned out pretty good. I believe you could probably find it somewhere if you put the effort in to look for it, if you wanted to see it. It was around the time of the artist event thing. I think I got paid USD for it, so it was nice. So yeah, I generally have no idea what I'm doing. So, yep, just making the random swirls here. And if anyone has any questions, you know, ask them at any time. And if you can't hear me for some reason, because this mic is brand new to me, yeah, just, you know, tell me. I don't really like the angle of the swirl right now. I'm gonna try and make it a little bit more rounded. Also, I apologize if my tablet's really loud. The mic is right next to my tablet, and I was listening to myself earlier before this stream on my own personal live stream account, and it was pretty loud. And I apologize. I rotate the canvas a lot while I'm drawing. If it is causing anyone a lot of trouble, I can try to avoid that in general, but it can sometimes be pretty hard. Also, by the way, this is Iridien streaming. My account name is Air because there were 3 people in the account. Yeah, it still was there while I was talking to myself. It was pretty great. Had to make sure everything was working before I got on here. So I've been focused on making sure everything's okay all morning. Yep, I am completely batshit at this point. Oh, I apologize for that. I'll try to censor myself better in the future. Yeah, so 2 people from the Air account are here right now. Riri's in the chat, and I'm Ari. And then Alaris is at home right now with his family for the holidays, so he's doing that. Otherwise I would have drug him in here. Yeah, I was on the PVC team for a little bit, and I will be coming back sometime after January. I just had to finish my college apps because I'm at that age now, and figuring that out. How long I've been doing art for? I mean, that's always a really tough question to be asked because I'm like, well, at what point do I have a cutoff there? Like, I was drawing when I was 7, but I was tracing Powerpuff Girls. Is that art? But as for being paid for doing art, when I was 11, I was doing commissions on Gaia Online, if you count those. And I got paid in, you know, Gaia Gold. So that was not exactly terribly professional. But as for being paid in like actual money, that would be only very recently when I joined the PBC team. I think that was like the first time I gotten paid for art. Yeah, I mean, I'm still fairly new to this stuff. Oh, I sucked really bad too. It was not good. Nope. But I got my first tablet around 10 or 11. I got it from eating glue. I got it from London, actually. I live in California, and I was in London on vacation, and I saw this tablet for like $50, and I was like, yeah, let's do this thing. And it was a Trust tablet. It was pretty mediocre. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I set it up on the plane ride home and worked on that. And then I got this in Tuos probably maybe 3 or 4 years after that. I don't know. It was only a few years after I got my first tablet that I got this in Tuos, and since then I've replaced it once because the ports on the side broke, which was a little annoying, to say the least. But, yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty good tablet. Yeah. I'm adding a lot of detail to this, and as I said before, I'll probably end up deleting this because it's probably going to have too much, and I'll have to see when I zoom out exactly how it ends up looking, because 200x, there's a lot of things I've done where I'm just like, if you don't display this at 400x, there's actually going to be a problem here. Because it's just really hard to see otherwise. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do a rose somewhere around here. Maybe here. I do my rose markings different every single time I do them, so I can't necessarily give like a, this is how I always do roses, but I generally start out by making a bunch of blobs and then just kind of erasing away from that, and the blobs I generally make kind of vaguely rose-shaped. And you could see more examples of roses I've done on my thread as well if you wish to see them. Can I see you? Holy Chris, I can't, I don't understand what you mean by see you. Like, I see you in the chat, but I don't, like, actually see you. So. Yep. Now, a lot of times while I'm coloring, I'll use stand-in colors, and I won't necessarily put down the colors that I'm planning on using initially. Like, say I'm coloring something that's very, I guess, light, and I want to put some light lace markings on them. I might do those lace markings in black. I think the pet that Itzel is showing right now, which is blue and has white lace on it, I did in black lace initially and then just kind of made it white. It's so simple to do that there's no reason, I suppose, to just make it easier to see. I'm blind as a bat when it comes to everything, and I can't even see my computer monitor without my glasses. It's like less than a foot away from me. But yep, this one I'm just doing in the colors I'm at least thinking about intending at the moment, because it's not too bad to see. And then that looks just kind of okay. I don't know, I'll probably add more stuff on top of it and decide then if I like it or not. As for this rose, I kind of like it thicker at the moment and not necessarily like an outline. I just feel like it kind of looks better. Sometimes if I'm like doing rose marking, I might do the little things and then go through and like actually erase it out and then make it look more like a petal outline and then maybe color it in underneath and then do a white outline and a bunch of stuff. But for this one, I think I'm just gonna keep it like this. Yeah, more of a tribal rose looking thing. Once again, the prompt for this was, I believe, laces and roses and swirls. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And I apologize if I can't keep up with the chat very much. My skills with talking and drawing and reading at the same time aren't exactly as developed as they could be. But, yeah. I mean, I do like that better because it's got less detail in it, but it makes me worry that the swirl I just did has a little bit too much detail, and I mean, I might see when I add more later how it looks exactly, and also if I'm coloring off the screen, just tell me and I'll fix that. So, yeah, just gonna add random swirls to it. Hope that they kind of make sense. And if they don't make sense, I'll just erase them. Right now I honestly have no idea what I'm doing. A lot of times I don't really think about it beforehand because I find if I do think about it beforehand, I get kind of disappointed when it doesn't come out how I want it to look. I mean, there are certain times when I know what I want. A lot of times that happens when I'm like coloring for myself and know what I want rather than coloring for a commissioner like I am right now. Because I can't really read commissioners' minds. So I just kind of go with it and then make changes if I need to. If it doesn't really work out to be something they like. I hate coloring lines, so I always make all my changes before I actually color the line art. Yes, I'm doing a commission for Itzel right now, who is in the stream at the moment, and can, I guess, answer questions about it if you had questions about it. I don't know. Itzel always reminds me of pretzels, like, I don't know, but it's a it sound, I suppose. But yeah, I have a couple of other commissions as well. I'll actually ask you guys, when I get a little bit closer to it, which ones you would like to see. I have a couple that are magma themed with a lot of like lava and glowy stuff to work on. So I can show you those. Or I have one that's space themed, so I can show you how I do space. They're both going to be very kind of painting-y. This one right here is a lot more using the pen tool, whereas in something like the magma one or the space one, I wouldn't necessarily use the pen tool almost at all. So yeah, I mean, I might have time to do both of those. I believe there's not a time limit on this, so I can do it for a while, I suppose. I mean, I'm getting commissions done, so it's beneficial there. Okay, Liv did 2 hours and 1.5. Okay, well, I'll do something in there. I mean, I don't really know if I have any plans today, so I should be good. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting this much detail into a design. I tend to put a little bit too much detail and have to take it out afterwards. Yes, I have lots of clams today going on. Yeah, I don't think I have any plans till the 31st. So, yeah, just stream until the 31st. That'll totally happen. As for the smooth lines, those just kind of happen with practice. Like, as I said, I've had my tablet for, how old am I? 7 years now? 8 years? Somewhere in there. So I've had it for quite a while, and it's not this specific tablet I've had, that's just a tablet in general, but just practice. I mean, I've been doing a lot of critiques lately on another website, and I just tell people, like, literally just draw lines, like, over and over again. Like, just do this a lot, and do it, and, like, actually try and do things that are straight, and good lines, and just eventually it'll come more naturally to you. So I would recommend that everyone draws lots of lines all the time, if you can. And also take lots of breaks and, you know, exercise your wrist. You don't want to have problems like I do. So, yeah. Drink tons of caffeine. I actually have never gotten into the coffee thing, which is weird because my family is in the coffee business. But just, I don't know why. I don't like the smell of it that much, or the taste, which I suppose is linked to the smell fairly heavily. Never really like soda too much. The only soda I drink is orange soda. So, lots of lemonade. I drink so much lemonade. It definitely is not healthy. I go through like a huge thing of lemonade every day, I swear. I guess I'm on sugar all the time as a result, so there's energy in that way. So, yeah. I do like tea, though. Tea is pretty good. I like peppermint tea a lot. And I had some normal mint tea as well. A while ago that was pretty good, but then my school stopped selling it, which was a little frustrating because I wanted to eat it every day, and I couldn't. A 24-pack of Dr. Pepper? That's crazy. As I said, the only soda I drink is orange soda, so... And I don't do it very often, but I drink Fanta and Cactus Cooler. I don't know if they have Cactus Cooler in other places. I'm in a desert, it might be a desert thing. Yeah, Cactus Cooler is orange pineapple soda. It's pretty similar to Fanta or Fanta. I really don't know which one's accurate. I mean, I like the sound of Fanta better, but I believe the official one is Fanta. How do you get ideas for swirls, or, well, just anything you... Do you look for inspiration, or do you just go with how you feel, was the question asked by Denixius. I apologize if I butchered your name. I just kind of do whatever I feel like and what looks good. I mean, I tend to lean towards a specific direction in general while doing swirls, or anything for that matter. I generally look at the kind of flow of the thing in question. Here, I'll do this in a different color. So it kind of goes like in that direction, so I tend to do my swirls in that direction. Whoops, like that. Just kind of following this up through there, and I find that most animals kind of have that general pattern going on, so I kind of I don't know what word I'm trying to use. I just use that to do my markings, and I find that it generally turns out pretty good when I do that. And right now I'm just like literally adding random markings, and if they look good, I'm keeping them. If they don't look good, I'm getting rid of them. Yeah. I apologize if I'm shaking the table right now. I got a little too excited about that swirl, I guess. Yeah, I find it's kind of exciting to do stuff without necessarily thinking about it beforehand. Mostly so I don't disappoint myself, because I find with art I get very discouraged if I think about what I want to draw beforehand and then can't do it physically because of, you know, my ability to draw or move my wrist in a certain way. You know, just mileage on my wrists. I don't have enough to be able to do the particular thing I'm trying to do, and that gets really discouraging, so I tend to just not really think about it as a result, which isn't necessarily the best coping mechanism for that, but it's just what I do. I mean, I don't necessarily think about what comes out of my mouth either, so I suppose I just kind of live by that general philosophy of let's just do things and see how they turn out. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out and you end up with something bad and you just gotta, you know, wait a little bit and then do it over. If anyone would like me to cover anything specific as well, I can try and fit it in at some point. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that does look like a face with the eyes in the mouth. I might delete that then, because that looks a little weird to me now that it's been pointed out. Layers work. Okay, so for coloring specifically, just have every color on a separate layer. Like right now I have the base layer here, and then I have a kind of darker gradient going on, and then a lighter gradient. And the markings as well. And for these markings I'm keeping them all in one layer, but sometimes you might want to like separate them a bit just to make it like easier for breeding artists, so that you can have like a baby with just these butt markings if you wanted to cut those out specifically, and I'm not going to cut it out very well. And then you could have that separate from this ugly swirl here that I just did and will probably redo later. So yeah, that can be really helpful to the breeding artists in general, so they don't have to, you know, use a layer mask and hide that if they wanted their baby to have just that. Layer masks are really useful to use if you're like doing markings under an edit or something. Always do your markings under an edit. I don't necessarily live by this at times. I'm sorry, breeding artist. But you need to do your markings under the edits and actually take the time in order to make sure, you know, your client or yourself has nice babies. Because I suppose that's one of the reasons to have customs in the first place. So yeah, just don't do everything on the base. And right now on this specific deer, a lot of the back stuff is actually going to be covered up by this kind of mesh of branches right here, so that I'm still doing them underneath, because maybe the baby won't have these branches, and the artist still, you know, wants to have markings under there. So yeah, just kind of take off all the edits that you're going to have initially, you know, uncheck them. And I also take off all the shading so I can see it, and then have this going on. I mean, I didn't turn off the wisps and the leaves because they weren't in the way of the body right now. But yeah, under edits would be like, you see how these swirls here are happening, but in the final image, it's gonna have this. So you won't see a lot of that stuff I just did, but if it had a baby, and the baby didn't have that mess of branches, then you'd be able to see the swirls. So it's just kind of a good thing to do in general. Make sure to draw under your markings and have under your edits and have everything be complete. And I mean, I suppose you could draw under markings as well if you had really like layered markings. Yeah, so the breeding artists don't have to redo it. And yes, everything, just make new layers. You can never have too many layers at all. You could just, all the layers. I mean, actually there is a limit on SAI and I have hit it several times, but the limit's pretty high and it would take a lot of effort generally to hit it. I think it's like 250 layers or something. It's not something that is a problem, and I think actually you might be able to increase it if you start messing with the settings, because I was able to increase my max image size that way. So yeah, all the layers. I'm just throwing out the 250 layers. I'm not entirely sure if it's completely accurate, but I have had a lot of layers before. I don't think it was on an Aywas pet though. It was on a thing I was illustrating otherwise. But yeah, not necessarily every line you draw do you need a new layer, but I mean, theoretically I could separate this out and have the roses on a different layers and the swirls on a different layer and the dots on a different layer, so that way the artist could hide specific dots if they decide they want to split that up between the babies, or maybe have roses on one baby and swirls on the other baby. It really depends on how much you want, I suppose, to go into the babies. Like if it's your own custom, you would know stuff that you might want to be passed down while breeding. If it's for a commissioner, generally I'll just kind of do whatever I feel makes sense in the situation. I don't separate everything out on the commissioner, on things that are commissioned, because it can get a little hectic and also be a lot of work for the amount of time I wish to spend on it. But just kind of use your best judgment. Is this something that I want to be separate? Is there anything on top of it? Is there anything under it? Does it make sense? Like if I decided to do a bunch of like red spots on top of this, oh wait, that's like the same color, like that, I would have those on a separate layer. I wouldn't do them on the same layer as this. So that's just something to consider. And I suppose it just takes a lot of practice. Like my first customs, I had stuff that was like really shouldn't have been on the same layer When in doubt, separate it. Don't err on the side of caution and separate it. Like it's better to have too many layers than have too few. Even if it feels like, oh, well, they might get upset because there's a lot of unnamed layers for them to sort through, I feel like it might be better than having everything on one layer. So, yeah. And I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool that I kind of figured out fairly recently that I really enjoy when it comes to gradients on markings, which is something I see people do sometimes, and a lot of times they'll just kind of take this layer, they'll put on the preserve opacity so they clip it, and then they'll just go and like color this in and be like, yeah, this happened, and it's all on one layer. But generally for breedability, what I like to do is I select, sorry, this is a little low, I'm gonna move the screen up. I select the entire layer here, I press Ctrl T, and then I press Enter. And you'll see what SAI does is it kind of outlines exactly what I have on here, so that way I can make a new layer and then do a gradient and have that happen, and then get rid of these marching ants, and then there's a nice gradient, and it's very breedable, so it can change colors that will or whatever. Someone is suggesting I control click a layer. It's not doing anything for me, but that might be because I have my keys rebound. On SAI, I have a couple of things a little different. The canvas part. Oh, well, you can also, okay then, you can also control click it to get the marching ants around and then do that gradient thing. And that is something I just learned today, but also something I would suggest you do if you're doing gradients on top of like stripes or something, just to make it a little bit easier, because otherwise you'd have to go through and filter hue and saturation and then hue slide it, and sometimes you get kind of funky colors and it looks a little weird. So yeah, that's something cool. Could I show it again? Certainly. So using Silverwing's new trick here, click on the little icon with Control, or you can select it all, Control T, enter. Then you make a new layer, a brand new layer right on top, and then you choose color, kind of blend it in there. Then you click anywhere with the selection tool to get rid of the marching ants, and then you have this nice little gradient going on, and it's highly breathable, and it's not outside of the lines, and you don't have to do anything weird with like clipping folders, because this is really friendly for like Photoshop. There's certain things in SAI that you can do, like in SAI I could have a folder in here in these clipping groups and just be like, wee, I have a folder, but the thing is Photoshop can't handle that folder, so it's best to do things this way rather than making folders, because while it's convenient in SAI, my version of Photoshop can't do it. Clipped folders. I can do normal folders, but I can't do clipped folders in Photoshop. And I have received PSDs from artists before that had clipped folders, which were really frustrating. And once again, even if it works in some version of Photoshop, some versions of Photoshop, perhaps you'd end up with a breeding artist who doesn't have a version of Photoshop that works with that, and it would be very frustrating. So I strongly suggest not clipping folders and just grinning and bearing it, I suppose, while doing your coloring in SAI. And that's something that's SAI specific and such. Yeah, I use, what do I use? Let me check. I use CS5 as well, actually. You create something like, would it be possible to make such smooth... Okay. Let me actually ask this question here for people who are watching the VOD. Avarice asks, can you only create something like that in Photoshop? Or would it be possible to make such smooth lines or do the gradient thing in GIMP? Okay, right now I'm using SAI, first of all, and SAI has generally smoother lines than Photoshop does, which is why I tend to opt for it instead. I am freehanding my lines, so I could theoretically do things like this in any program at all. It's just a matter of, I mean, how hard or soft will the lines be. Right now I have my stabilizer on 0, so SAI isn't helping me out with anything. I mean, I don't really know too much about GIMP personally, which is why I think it was specified that this was SAI specific, at least in my little intro thing I did. But, yeah, I mean, I would suggest if you want to like seriously color things or do edits or just do anything in general on Aywas, get either Photoshop or SAI. I believe SAI is around $50, but I mean in the long term it's worth it to get. Oh, you can get it for $39? Is that like if it's on sale that you can get it for $39? Okay, so if it's on sale, you can get it for $39 instead of $60. I don't necessarily condone pirating, but I personally did pirate SAI and then later bought the actual version for the full price because, you know, I felt bad, but I ended up still using the pirated SAI just because I actually liked the program better and it had my palette right here. Which I can explain more later. There's just something about the way the lines worked in this specific instance of SAI that I preferred over the legitimate version. But, I mean, it's still good to, you know, pay the developers, give them what they deserve for making such an awesome program. and stuff like that. So, yeah, so my palette right here has a lot of colors that I use frequently. Right now behind the deer, I have the palette that the commissioner specifically wanted me to use. So I'm using that for this deer. But this like purple here, I use for shading a lot. I love shading in purple. I use a lot of funky colors while shading, and I'll show you guys that when I get to that point. But I use this purple a lot for shading, and then generally on blank PSDs I'll use this blue. I like this purple for shading things like brown. And I just use a lot of these colors here very frequently. This is like my generic tan color. So I really love that SAI has this like little palette thing that I can just scribble in and throw down all my random colors, and it helps a lot for me to be able to just kind of quickly find colors that I like and can use all the time. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, the palette is definitely one of my favorite features of SAI. I used to use Photoshop before that, and it is not impossible to color in Photoshop, definitely. Sometimes when I'm on my Mac, I'll color on Photoshop because SAI is actually not Mac compatible, which is very frustrating, and regardless of the amount of wine things I was trying to use, the pressure sensitivity doesn't work. And then for me personally, I had Parallels to run Windows off of my Mac, but it just kind of slowed the entire computer down so much that I didn't want to bother. So sometimes I will use Photoshop, and I find that Photoshop is good for a lot of kind of painty things. I generally wouldn't use it for sharp markings just because SAI has such nice sharp lines to use, and I enjoy the look of it. But I do like blending in SAI sometimes as well, which I kind of mimic Photoshop, I suppose, when I blend in SAI by using my brush tool instead of using the water tool to like blend things, because I feel like it just gives this kind of a natural blend that doesn't look very kind of painting-y and pretty to me personally, but that's kind of an aesthetic thing. You really could get away with either. And blur, I don't have a blur tool in my SAI. However, I probably wouldn't use that either for the same exact reason. I don't know how to install preset brushes in SAI, but earlier in the stream I did give my settings for my brush tool, so you can see those. And I can also figure out some way to post them, maybe on Tumblr or something, if you guys missed that and would like them and don't want to go back through the VOD, because I believe there's like 8 minutes of music playing right beforehand to suffer through. I mean, I think it's good music. It's Emancipator. I really like Emancipator, but to each their own. Yeah, so right now I'm just kind of making random kind of stripey, swirly shapes. Yes, I did end up turning off the music. I wasn't sure if you guys would be able to hear me over the music. I can still play music in the background if you guys would like. And I can try and set that up, but this being the first time I have used my little brother's mic, I didn't really want to tempt the fates and use music in the back. But if you'd like it, I can try. It probably is just a matter of messing with the levels a little bit. Yeah, it's not, I mean, it is by design that there is no music playing right now. Hello, Tukey. It almost reminds me of like a combination of a zebra and a giraffe right now. We got some kind of giraffe. I'm not gonna do karaoke right now. in 4th grade, I applied for a no-cut choir and was not accepted. So that's a little bit... That's kind of my extent of musical talent. It's not good. I'm here to do a drawing stream, not a singing stream. Unfortunately, though, I wish I could sing if I could. If I could sing, it would be great, but I can't. So, it's not gonna happen. Earlier I was talking to myself and making weird noises just to test the mic, but I didn't end up saving that, and it was on my Iridien streaming account, so nope. You guys don't get that. Ask another person streaming to sing, maybe they'll do it. So yeah, I really enjoy doing kind of strange markings as well as the generic swirl things. Just because it's kind of a lot of fun. Yeah, get Sev to stream and sing. I'm sure that will work out. Yeah, everyone go blackmail them. I should have eaten more before this, apparently, because I'm getting hungry. Maybe I'll break into the candy on my desk while on stream and force you guys all to listen to that while I color. I'm sure that will go over well. I have a lot of candy on my desk because I went to my little cousin's first birthday party and got a little gift bag. If you hear people talking in the background, my little brother is awake now and out and about, and my parents also are home, so they might be making some noise, and I apologize for that if it happens. Luckily my little brother's not playing COD right now because that would be really loud and it'd sound like there was a war going on in the background. I try to zoom out frequently while drawing, especially while doing kind of smaller things and intricate designs, just because it's necessary to make sure that it's just not too small to see, which is a frequent problem when working in 200x, especially if your PSD is larger than 200x while coloring. I personally don't color below 600x just because personally I prefer to kind of toe the line when it comes to too much detail rather than kind of have wonky lines potentially. I just turned 18 recently, so I'm still pretty young. Yes, this is Iridien right now, Tuki. I apologize if the news wasn't too clear about that. Here is the baby of the account. Yeah, I am the youngest person in my account. Riri's the middle one, and then Aywas is the old man in the account. Yeah, just kind of doing funky like markings. Markings. I feel like these are kind of straying from the original lace request and going more into kind of weird, funky markings. But I guess I'm just kind of feeling in that general mood today. as some of you saw from my little intro thing I made right before, I'm in a weird mood when it comes to color. I probably won't do too many other markings in different colors just because these are already pretty intense and not very, simple. But sometimes I'll do stuff like this in a bunch of different colors if it works out to be that way. Yeah, it's okay if it's confusing. Once again, this is Iridien streaming from the Air account. The I in Air. Yep. I am the I. Turn on the shading for a second. I haven't colored the shading yet, so it's probably gonna look weird. I mean, I think Itzel was already working in this palette on this PSD beforehand. But I will be adjusting the shading color. It was requested that I turn on the shading for anyone watching the VOD. So that's why I turned it on really quick. But when I color, I generally leave it off because I just find it's easier to see, especially if you're doing little intricate markings. Who is on the stream right now? I'm curious. I haven't checked yet. Okay. Just wanted to peek at that. But yeah. Yep. Hello, Yuki. Itzel, would you be opposed to me choosing a random color for the eye that is not in the palette? Okay. I'll probably do something kind of bright that stands out a lot. And, simple coloring isn't a bad thing, necessarily. The prompt for this was just something that was very intricate, so I did that. But it's, okay to have really simple things as well. There's no problems with that. It's fun to kind of vary things. I mean, if everything's really complicated and intense, then, everything would be boring. So, yeah. So offended that you're being stolen, Itzel. I'm gonna set this layer to multiply. I'm gonna color the lines black really quick because it's getting kind of hard to see things. I don't really like that shade of brown on this palette, actually. It just looks kind of, I guess it's just got so much gray on it. Did I use the wrong color? No, I didn't. I'm probably gonna hue slide it a little bit, or move it over just a tad. I don't think you can see me moving it over, but I just moved it, made it a little more red. Just because I felt like this deer is pretty red already, and I kind of like the red. I do think it's a little dark, though. A lot of times I just kind of ignore the palettes I'm given and just kind of do whatever I feel like, which isn't necessarily the best thing, especially if you're doing something for a commission, but sometimes it's just kind of hard to stick to the palette. I actually don't think I ever stick to the palette because I like to add a lot of funny colors. That was there previously, and then this. This PSD has the hooves and the antlers pre-colored for me, which is nice because now I can just quickly color them in. And also figure out what this is. What is this? Why are there... What is this? Sorry, there's like... Oh, it's on the eyeshine layer. Okay. I found the problem there. I was just wondering why it had these white lines on the antlers. Yeah, so I generally go through, especially if I didn't fill in the markings myself, like if I have a PSD with the nose already colored in, or the this or that already colored in, I generally go through and try and see and make sure that they filled in the they colored in the lines properly. It's not that I necessarily expect, like, everyone's terrible at coloring in the lines, I'm the only one who could do it or anything. It's just, I like to be, I'm very detail focused, so it's just something that I do if I haven't colored in the PSD myself. Yeah, a lot of times I'll find tiny little spots and I'll be like, oh no, spots. I'll fix those. This little spot right here. Okay, let's see. So now I'm gonna go on to doing the, why can't I see this? Oh, there it is. Now I'm gonna go on to doing the shading. Generally I choose a fairly funny color for the shading. I'm gonna move the screen up so you guys can see the color wheel and see what color I'm working with. Kind of thinking something kind of reddish, just because I like the reddish idea, but a little bit purple. I shade a lot of things with purple. Purple is kind of my favorite color to shade with, I suppose. I'm gonna move the deer up so you guys can see the whole thing. Yeah, so you can't really see the layers too much. Maybe I could do it in the little corner. I apologize, I'm not streaming my entire screen right now. Just so I can, I don't know. I always color with my SAI only open on the far right side of my screen, just because I'm weird like that. This is very red. So yeah, I'm just kind of weird when it comes to that, and can't focus if it's like the entire screen or full screen or just really big or something. Yeah, because I don't even have, whoops, I'm sorry, I apologize for touching the mic there, it's near my mouth. Yeah, I don't have Skype open right now, don't worry. But yeah, oh, the eye color is apparently here. I'm gonna move it down there. I'm thinking kind of a greenish color, because I might make the leaves green too. This PSD is currently what is this? I'll have to figure that out later. This PSD is currently unfoldered, so it's a little messy. I normally just folder everything, but this is a GIMP friendly PSD, so for people who use GIMP, buy Kogas, I guess, because they're GIMP friendly. I don't know. Yeah, I really like purple, especially with brown, so I'm probably going to keep this fairly purpley. Wild Rice made this species, and Suki owns it, so yeah. I added some blue on top of the purple because purple and blue go together pretty well. And then I usually use kind of a pale yellow that I choose from this kind of smeared yellow spot I had. See if that works, move a little closer if it doesn't. Wild Rice is amazing. I have a SCC by Wild Rice and it's really nice. I would strongly recommend you commission them if their slots are open. I believe they're a PBC artist right now. So, yeah. Eye shine. I'm gonna separate out this layer just because I do want the white to be there for the thing, but I don't really like the white on the horns that much, so I'm just gonna set this to overlay so it's just kind of brightish and more, I don't know, more in line with what I was hoping for. Now, There's something I generally do with a lot of things. I like to add a bunch of kind of random colors in, just because I feel like it's interesting to do. Like, I already have a lot of random colors, but I tend to add even more, which I think was sort of what the shading tint layer is. Just kind of adding more colors to it. Just because I feel like it looks kind of cool. I mean, you don't have to. It's just something I do all the time. And probably do too much. Is the video over? I believe it's not over. If it's over, that's a problem because I'm not intentionally making it over right now. I hope it's still there. Is it still there? It's been going for an hour now, but I've only colored one PSD, so I think I would like to stay a bit longer. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's actually really kind of slow to color PSDs. It takes a lot more effort than I was expecting, especially when I first started, because initially I was very bad at coloring, as most people are when they start things, and I just kind of, I guess, undervalued the amount of time that is spent doing coloring things, and right now I'm just adding more blue into this because I like blue. But yeah, I undervalued the amount of effort that goes into coloring, and I always thought, like, oh, I'd never pay more than 5 GP for coloring, because, like, oh, anything more is so expensive, terrible, and blah blah blah, way too much. But I feel like it takes a lot more time and effort than one would expect. I really don't like that initial swirl I did, and I might go back and change it actually before I finish this. Right now I'm just gonna have to figure out what color I want to make these. I kind of want to make them something a bit different than the base, but I don't necessarily, I mean, maybe I could make them green. I don't know. Itzel, would you get mad if I made them green? Yeah, and I mean, price does, of course, depend on the effort that the artist puts in, and not just the effort, but the amount of, like, skill they have and whatnot. I mean, prices are fairly subjective. I just personally feel like I underpaid, or at least wanted to underpay people, before I started coloring myself. And maybe it's just because I value things I could do a little bit more, because I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure the economy's good for me. So, yep. I decided to make these green because I like green, and just trying to choose a good color for the highlights thing. Well, a lot of times I just kind of choose colors based on what I think would look good. I want to overlay on that layer. I mean, it helps to choose like a pre-made palette, but a lot of times it's fun to just kind of stray from that. So, yeah, I actually think I might add a gradient into that, just because I like that. Oh, and then I think I wanted to add a gradient actually into the other thing as well, so I'll probably do more gradients. Yep. Just kind of. No, I don't like how that looks. What is this? When in doubt, add gradients. That's my number one tip. Yeah, I probably could do a 6-hour stream, honestly. I think I've done 24-hour streams before. It was rough. uh, just because I felt like I have a bad concept of time. So, yeah. Yeah, I definitely need to eat all the candy I have on my desk. I also have a bunch of Madeleines and Nutella on my desk that I might break into a little bit later. Yeah, sleep. Sleep is for the weak. Do I have commissions open? Right now, they're, like, technically closed, but I'm probably gonna open them soon. Finch, for you specifically, I don't know if Itzel had something planned. I don't want to spoil anything if Itzel didn't, but... yeah. Just doing the shading. I'm thinking about doing this green, but I'm also sort of thinking about gold. I don't know. I'll see what happens when I color it green. So, yeah. During the summertime, I usually go nocturnal. Completely. And that's always a lot of fun. And by fun, I mean horrible. But, yeah. What is this layer? Sometimes there's layers and I really don't know what's going on. Just gonna go, oh, there it is. Okay. Yep. I might come back to this one a little bit later. But right now I want to do a gradient thing. So, using the thing I explained a little bit earlier, and for people who just came in here, I am control clicking on this so I can get the markings outlined. I am making a new layer, and then I am choosing a color, which is the hard part. Maybe something more reddish. And then I'm just gonna kind of add a little gradient. Just because I really like gradients a lot, because it kind of makes things a little more interesting by making it not even in the same throughout the entire thing. What is the most layers I've had to color for a single PSD? I don't really pay attention to that, honestly. So I don't know if I could answer that. I mean, you said you had 800 layers to color, which sounds a little complicated. I don't know if I've hit 800 before, but I have used a lot of layers in the past. Oh, someone is calling me right now. I'm gonna quickly hang up, decline their message, and then text them to tell them I am busy right now. So, that's why the mouse isn't moving right now. Just texting them. Because I don't want to... I mean, first of all, I don't know how to pause the stream on live stream, and second of all, I don't want to call someone on the stream because that's not professional. Yep. So, I don't know. I'm really not sure if I like this or not. Itzel, what do you think? This is a commission for Itzel, so I'm just asking what Itzel thinks. I always ask what the commissioner thinks before I do the line coloring because I absolutely hate it, and I'll show you guys the really, really lazy way that I color line art when doing that. So Itzel said that she liked it, so I'm going to color the lines now. So I make sure, first of all, that my base layer for the line art is black, so I just kind of go over that to double check. And then I make a new layer and I clip it to the base, and I'm actually going to move this back down a little bit just so you can see the layers a little bit more. So yes. So I have the black lines and a layer clipped to it. And sorry, I just got a response to that text I sent, so I had to check that out. And then I choose the darkest color, and I kind of sometimes I slide it down, sometimes I don't. But then I use the bucket tool and fill in this entire layer. So you'll see here that like it's kind of too light in places, and in other places it's too dark. So I'll take my water tool. This is the only time I use the water tool, and if you guys would like to see the settings on it, here we go. I will show it for a few seconds, and you can screen cap this if you're watching the VOD or just online right now, so you can see it. If the stream won't load now, it might be too many people right now. I mean, it only says there's 47 viewers, but then it says like 34 users. So I'm not sure what's up with that. But then I just kind of go and I erase the darker parts with the water tool, just kind of to make the lines a little bit darker. And you'll see that I'm not entirely erasing like the entirety of it, so it's like not black, but it's just a darker green, and it's just kind of a lazy way to make the lines colored, because for me, line coloring was always the worst part of coloring. It was the thing that made me not color for a long time, but then when I just kind of discovered I could be very lazy and just go through and kind of erase things, and it doesn't even have to be very perfect or very done with a lot of intent, I suppose. You could just kind of go at it and just kind of, use the same color on each layer. I generally make new layers for every coloring thing I do. It is helpful for breeding if you are like outlining markings. I don't know exactly how helpful the way I do it is for breeding, but I mean, it's just easier for me to make a bunch of new layers. So now I'm going to make another new layer, and I'm going to clip it, and instead of just like filling the whole layer, since I already did that in the layer before, I'm going to choose a kind of mid-tone color in here and just kind of lightly paint it on top of that. That was a little bit too close to the original one, so I'm going to choose a better mid-tone color, and I'm just going to kind of paint it on top, and I'm going to do it very lightly just to kind of give things a kind of greenish, well, I mean not greenish, but like a lighter color, just so it looks, like I really put effort into coloring the lines. I mean, as I said, it's my least favorite portion of doing anything. So it's just kind of a at least more bearable way to do it for me. And a lot of times I'll do this even faster than what I'm doing right now, and just kind of, as long as it looks good, it's fine, yeah, so just color in them leaves. By the way, if anyone has a question for me in the chat and I am missing it or anything, feel free to bold it, just so I can see it, or ask it multiple times. I apologize if it takes me some time to get to it, or if I don't see it right away, because lots of multitasking here and the chat's moving a little fast, so please don't bold everything though, because I am reading the chat. There's just certain things. Whoops, I apologize once again for hitting the mic. It's right near my mouse, which is a little frustrating, and I wanted to see this thing that Finch posted. However, I decided to give up, so I won't be seeing the thing that Finch posted. Yeah, there's a lot of multitasking going on right now. Now, these leaves have something with the highlight layers that I don't like. Are these the leaves? Yeah. I don't like this highlight layer because I hate white. I personally cannot stand things that are shaded with white. I mean, not shaded, but like highlighted with white. Some people like it, but if I have like a thing, okay, let me make a thing. So like, say I have this brown circle here. Say it's a little bit better. Okay, so I have a brown circle, and if I had a clipping group and it's shaded with white, there's something about it that just I can't deal with. Like if this is going on like that. I'm not gonna put too much effort into this, but just kind of like if that was happening. I just don't like that. It just looks so weird, so I always use a kind of off-white, maybe a yellow color or something, just because I feel like it's better than white highlighting. Same thing with shading. I don't use like gray shading for the most part because once again I feel like it's not quite as interesting, and I mean sometimes it works out, but generally I'll use purple. Purple is my favorite. Set this to multiply, and just kind of, I feel like it's a little bit more interesting with different colors. So, yeah, blues and yellows are good for highlights, purples and blues for shading. I agree there. Sometimes I'll kind of branch out, do funny things with it, but a lot of times purple just kind of works out. I'm not trying to ignore you, I'm sorry. I'm trying to explain something and pretend that this stream is a little bit informative. I just found out I was doing it this morning, so, like, frantic attempts to coordinate everything. Yeah, so I see you there, insulting me. For anyone watching this after the fact, Itzel is calling me a nerd, so I'm responding to that. A little frustrating that I don't think you see the chat in the recordings, so it's kind of hard when someone streaming responds to the chat because it's like, I have to live stream on short notice. Yeah, that's what my tutorial's on now. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's a little frustrating that someone's responding to the chat, so I'm trying to at least kind of explain what I'm responding to, but I really apologize if you're watching this after the stream and I have no idea what I'm talking about. What is this idiot saying? I don't get it. I apologize. So, yeah, sometimes when doing this kind of line art thing, I choose a lighter color than I would normally expect to choose, just because that way I have to have less layers, and sometimes I don't even need the layer on top of the lighter. It really depends on the specific thing I am coloring. Sometimes I can get away with just one layer of coloring, so that's not bad. And you know, the less line art coloring you have to do, the better I feel, so. This one leaf, like, doesn't have any shading on it. I'm gonna quickly add in kind of a little bit of shading onto it so it looks a little less weird. Might have been neglected a little bit. So. Yeah. Poor neglected leaf. Then I'll do a little bit of highlighting because it got neglected as well. Sometimes I do modify the shading on things that I get commissioned to do just because I feel like, oh, maybe it's lacking in a certain place. I mean, I try not to do it too much. Like, admittedly, sometimes I feel like, oh, I have to reshade this whole thing because I'm just like that. Whoops. But, you know, I try not to, because that's not what they commissioned me for. Yeah, just coloring in the deer now. Oh, somewhere on the line art wasn't black, so it's really important to make sure that your entire baseline art is black. And you have to be kind of conscientious regarding the layer order that you have. Just because, sometimes you'll be coloring something like this, and maybe you won't fully erase this, and then you'll be like, oh, well, I want to add a little bit of highlight here, and then you realize it looks kind of weird because you, like, have this in between that you didn't want. But maybe that'll go away if you just, like, deleted this entirely and put this underneath. So it's just something to kind of consider while coloring line art in this fashion. I'm just kind of rambling about things, so, yeah. And also, if anyone is watching this now or watching this later and wishes to PM me asking about anything that I did in the stream or just anything in general, I'm fairly open to PMs, and I do apologize if they get buried. It happens frequently. Yes, the ID is 448 if you'd like to PM me about anything. I try to respond. If I don't respond, please bug me, because it wasn't intentional. Yeah, specifically ask for Iridien, because there are 3 people on the account, and, you know, otherwise you might get, like, Aywas responding to you and giving you drawing tips, which isn't necessarily a good thing, because Aywas is not a good artist, and I'm not saying that insultingly, I'm saying that, like, honestly. Also, anyone in chat, if I am coloring off screen, please tell me. Just erasing. This is probably going to take a lot of layers of this because it is kind of got a lot of stuff going on that I need to deal with. Yep. Also, I applaud everyone who, like, is actively watching the stream, because I cannot watch streams, like, attentively and completely to save my life. I get distracted all the time and forget I have a stream open and then take up a spot and feel bad afterwards. So, yeah. I'm sorry, Riri, that I'm making it difficult to focus on LBC. You could always mute me if you need to. So, yeah, because sometimes it's a little hard to focus on other things while people are talking. I mean, I'm not stopping you from muting me, so if you're working on other things, you can mute my annoying voice. It can be arranged. Sorry when it's quiet. I'm actually sort of debating maybe playing some music. I don't know if anyone would want that. I wasn't earlier when I was testing things out, just because I was listening to the stream too, so it made everything double. But I can easily play some music if it gets kind of awkward. Because, you know, music makes everything less awkward. So now another little lazy trick that I do when it comes to kind of coloring complicated markings. A lot of times when I color them, I'll end up going, like, outside of the lines, which you can see here. So it's kind of like outside of the lines, but that's, like, actually a really good thing, because that way I can do clipping group and get rid of that, and then you can just kind of copy that layer that you had. You could do the control click thing, or you could do it the more complicated way that I did, and then just kind of clip the layer there, paste it there, and then filter, hue, and saturation, bring that luminescence down. And then that way it'll be just like you colored the lines, like, really well, except you didn't. So you can be kind of lazy. And then you can kind of get rid of areas where it doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I made a playlist right before this, so I can check that out and actually set it up right now So I think that might be a little better. Let's open up the mixer. Tell me if you can't hear me over the music. I can adjust that. How do English? Oh yeah, sorry, my mouse is right next to the mic, so you're gonna hear my clicking when it happens, and I unfortunately can't use my tablet while controlling the live stream here. I can try and move my mouse far away. Can you hear my speaking over the music? Well, here, move my mouse away. So, no, it's not a problem, hopefully. I think I'm going to add a little bit of kind of glowy stuff to the eye, just to kind of bring it out a bit more, because I feel like it's not terribly obvious right now. I moved my mouse on top of my DS, so it's awkwardly placed. The song was just changing, so you don't even hear music. Can't hear music. Okay. Let's see here. What's happening? You don't hear music. Okay. That would be because it's very quiet. Can you hear it? Oh, hello? Sorry, I was trying to fade it in and I didn't click the unmute button. Do you hear the music? And can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that. I was listening to music all by myself without sharing. Yeah, so I'm just kind of making the eye stand out a little bit by adding a light overlaid layer. I'm playing Emancipator right now. This song is Greenland. I really love Emancipator's stuff. I wonder if I can turn it down on my own computer a little bit though, because I can't hear myself think. Let's see. I still have the wisps of color and the leaves right here, and then I will be done with this, and we'll move on to the next thing and have a little vote or something on what I should color next, and I'll show that all to you guys and whatnot. So that'll be cool. I hope. Yeah, so when coloring the lines, what I do is you always want them to be darker than the actual colors that are down. Because that way you can see the lines. It doesn't look very good when your lines are lighter than the base. I know some people do that intentionally. I personally don't like the aesthetic. I mean, I guess some people do. But if I like colored all the lines like that, it looks really shocking and kind of weird. And I'm also talking with my hands right now and you guys can't see that, so yeah. There's like no highlights on this leaf layer and I don't know why. So I'm gonna probably add in some really quick kind of lights just to appease myself. Yeah, the Celestial Skies project does use the lighter lines thing, and I mean, once again, some people really like it. Sometimes it looks good, personally, but some people just don't, and, you know, to each their own. Yeah, so I'm just kind of adding some lights, so yeah, so unless you're doing the Celestial Skies project, make your lines darker. Or if you're like a breeding artist and you're doing a baby and the lines are lighter, I mean, you can generally assume that the person likes that aesthetic and do that. I mean, or if a commissioner specifically told you that they wanted the lines to be lighter, I feel like those would be the only scenarios where the lines would be okay to be lighter. Yeah. And just to clarify, I'm not bashing on the Celestial Skies project or anything that uses lighter lines. It's all personal taste. And I do think there are situations where it is appropriate, so yep. I think I'm gonna make the wisps this kind of lighter color on the palette and actually do something from the palette for a change. Go figure. Yeah. So probably while I have the voting up, I'll break into some Nutella and cookies so I can eat something. I ate some green beans this morning and I thought they would be enough, but apparently they are not enough, so yeah. Wait, is something wrong with this? Is there something wrong? Green beans are my favorite food, so I love green beans so much. And I had some leftovers from the dinner my parents went to without me. See, now this doesn't look quite right just because the layer has a lot of opacity. Generally, when things have opacity, you need to do things that are kind of a bit more on the saturated side when it comes to kind of line coloring and stuff, unless you're doing something really purely dark. So as you can see, I added a layer of kind of bright red underneath to serve as the equivalent of black on other layers. And that's just with things that kind of have opacity, because gray looks really weird like that. So, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm done with this deer, and I will save it after the stream. Because I don't want to do the saving now. It's a thing. So, gonna move on to the next thing. So I have this to color, like magma. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 will be this Fanto here. And that is also colored like magma, and I'm gonna quickly try and get a pull up. So found a thing. There's like a thing that I found that allowed you to make a poll in a stream really quickly and see the results immediately. So this says it's gonna take 30 minutes to make a, oh, sorry, 30 seconds to make a thing. So I'm gonna hastily which one to color. Ended multiple choice. How many options do I have? That's option number 2, and then this would be option 3, and that's 4. So there are 4 options. Great. Okay. So now I need to find a link. I apologize, I should have set this up beforehand. So I think this is a link. I'm going to paste it here. Tell me if it doesn't work. And if it does work, I will show you the options. So option number 1, once again, is this colored like magma. Option number 2 is this colored like magma, and it's already been started. Option number 3 is this colored like space, and option number 4 is this colored like a carousel pony. Okay, if it's not working, then I'll try and... I'm not really sure how to try it now. Oh, share. Oh, there's a link. There's a link. Okay. Does this work? Okay, if you have to text, then don't text it. I can just conduct a poll in the thing. I was hoping to do something kind of cool, but then I guess it didn't work out very well. So I guess everyone just say which number you want. Oh wait, actually someone was able to vote. Did they have to text to do that, or did you just manage to do that? Okay, you have to text it. Well, don't text it. I'm going to end the poll, if there's a thing. Stop poll. It looks like most people want number 1, colored like magma. So I'll do that. And I might be able to do other ones too, so no worries if your favorite choice didn't get chosen. Now there's a background layer on this PSD, so I'm just deleting it. I try not to have a background layer in general because I sometimes forget and then upload a PSD that is not good and has a background. So best way to stop accidental backgrounds is not to have one. So yeah. For this one I don't have a palette chosen, so I'm just gonna kind of, whoops, that's not locked. Just gonna kind of put down colors and see what ends up looking good. I've removed all the shading there, and I think I'm probably, I don't know if I want to start dark and paint up to light, or start light and paint up to dark. Maybe I'll start light, because on the other one I will be starting dark. So, yeah, I'm just kind of making things gradually more red and dark because the prompt was magma. Actually, I think it might be easier to start with kind of mid-color. Okay. And then do this. I didn't really think this through beforehand, but it might be kind of useful to see the thinking process when it comes to this magma prompt. I need to decide if I want to have like each scale be like a little magma thing or have like running magma. And I might do kind of running magma. And if that doesn't work, I'll just fix it. So right now I'm just using a kind of lighter color and painting it in. So that way I can see it. It'll end up kind of like cracks between the scales, I suppose. And I'm gonna, for the most part, kind of ignore the scales while I do this. So yeah, I'm just kind of painting it in. I'll try to do this neatly so I don't have to use this as a sketch and then redo it. I say you buy all the species in the bottles right now. Oh god, I am really butchering your name. I apologize for name butcherings. I am awkward and have a thick tongue, so there's that. I'm gonna up the density on this a little bit just so I can do this a little bit faster and kind of have more crisp lines. I do play with the density a lot while doing things. I find for shading I'm constantly changing it between like 20 density and like 100. So just kind of do whatever you feel, whatever feels right. Do whatever feels right. Kanan? I'm going with Kanan for your name. And I might be wrong. Oh yeah, I was planning on eating a little bit between this, but maybe I'll figure it out. I don't know. I'll be okay. Let's see. Okay. I am going to break into this Madeline cookie. I apologize for people watching this after the actual stream. I'll try and be fast and eat this cookie really fast. And hopefully not be too loud, but I am having a hard time even hearing myself because of the music. But, yeah. I can't eat in color. I keep on biting my hand because I'm missing the cookie. Also, I'm not paying attention to the chat at the moment because it's a little difficult to do this and also eat and also read. Let me see, my playlist is almost done, so I'm gonna have to kind of improvise here with the songs. I hope I don't actually do something, not okay with the song choice. But I'm sure it'll work out. And I feel a bit better now that I've eaten that cookie, so, yeah. I, recently obtained a huge box of, wholesale Madeline cookies, and I have it on my desk and I am literally just eating them. When I usually have my rat out while I color, to kind of relate this to the topic of the stream. And she likes to jump in the piles of Madeline cookies. Because there's a lot. These things are adorable and I really always wanted one of them, but they're so expensive. Waiting for them to become cheaper. This one's another commission as well. I'm kind of derping as to who it was for. I could check quickly, probably, and save myself from any awkwardness surrounding that. This one's for... Are they not on my list? I will find it. I apologize if I made anyone hungry. Yes, this one is for Need Chocolate Now. That was not who I was about to guess, so it's good that I checked instead of just guessing, because that would have been embarrassing. I'm sort of doing something, I guess, more like Tiger Stripes than Magma, but... I mean... What can you do? Maybe I'll make it more appropriate later. I never really done Magma Cracks before the last one I started, so I'm not sure I'd give the best advice regarding the shapes, but yeah. And once again, the music I'm playing right now is by Emancipator. Pretty sure. Let's see. Yes. I'll probably be playing some Bastion music later. Bastion's my favorite game and has amazing music, so I'll do that. And I might also play some other interesting songs I have in my favorites. Probably stick to things without words, but they might have some words in them. I don't know. I don't want it to be too distracting from my talking because, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be better if it was distracting from my talking. So yeah, I'm using the brush tool, and I'll probably be using the brush tool for this entire thing, just because it just feels the best. I don't know, because otherwise I'd just be having all these really sharp lines, and those wouldn't look good for like a kind of base layer. And I'm hoping to get a lot of contrast and kind of glowy in this eventually. I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit more just so I can hear myself sing. 45 GP for this item is a little expensive, which is kind of frustrating. I also was a little sad that PBC artists didn't get it, but we're not active right now, so I guess what can you do? Yeah, this might look a little bit less like Magma, more like Magma-inspired stripes, but that's how it goes. Maybe I'll do better on the body when I have a bit more room. I mean, maybe it'll look better smaller. I don't know. I'll see. I'm a little worried about doing the orb, just because it requires a lot of painting. It's not. Worried I'd mess it up. Especially since it's such an expensive custom figure. Stuff like that always worries me. Yeah, watching people color and draw always makes me want to color and draw too. I feel you. I was doing that last night. I don't remember what I ended up drawing last night. I did something. Oh yeah, I think I colored something else. I colored a Tuki Iridien. This one's called, shoot, is it like a pearl something? I know you make it with the pearl embryo. I don't know, someone in the chat. Orb Weaver, that's what these are called. These are called Orb Weavers. Thank you. Yeah, embryo pearl. Get everything wrong. I feel like Magma would be a little more sharp than this. I'm probably doing it a bit too kind of smooth, but I mean, it definitely doesn't make sense considering the scales. But I'm just kind of coloring and ignoring the scales. In fact, I can turn off the scales. Now it looks weird. I think I'll just leave the scales on because they're going to be on in the final thing, so. And as for stuff like this that has a lot of like repetitive movements and stuff, just make sure everything you do is very different from the last one. Make an effort not to fall into a pattern, like especially with like fur or something. You don't want to like do this over and over again because it gets kind of boring. You want to kind of vary it a bit. I don't know, that's not very varied, but anyways, I'm not here to teach you how to draw fur, but yeah. I use this color on my palette. Yeah, Magma has no pattern, but you are doing a Magma pattern, I think. Terminology? I don't know. But yeah, definitely don't make it look the same as the last line you did, hopefully. And I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of that, but not too close to each other frequently. Yeah, my playlist just looped, so I might end up switching to a different one a little bit after this song is over. I'll try and make this transition a little smooth, but I'm not one for smooth transitions. Yeah, this doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe it'll look better once I do the dark. So yeah, this light layer is actually probably going to be one of the top few layers, but I'm just doing it first so I kind of get an idea of the general pattern I want to do. So I can do all the dark and stuff better. Because it's going to have a lot of contrast in the end if I successfully manage to do this. And there's a lot of different ways to do magma too. I mean, I would say there's no wrong way, but I suppose theoretically there is a wrong way. But as long as it looks good, you know, however you do it, it's fine. Yeah, here, let's check her board. Yeah, best magma. And I mean, I'm doing something a little more fluid for my magma. A little less like cracks and more, I guess, like dripping. There's a drip. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna change the song playlist once this goes out. Because I made a playlist to play before the stream, but it only spanned like a few minutes, so here. This is Bastion music, hopefully it works out. Yeah, it is my favorite game of all times. If you ever feel like playing a game, play Bastion. I think it's around $15, not on sale, but it goes on sale pretty frequently for $2 or so. Yeah, I cried at the end of the game as well. It's just such a well-constructed world and great game, so if you're looking for a fun thing to do in your free time a little bit, while you're, you know, not busily coloring all the PSDs, definitely check out Bastion. And yeah, it was $2 in the Steam sale. It's been in the Humble Bundle before. It was originally on Xbox Live Arcade, Summer of Arcade, so you can get it on Xbox as well. I don't know if it's on the new one. I don't know how that works. I don't console game, I PC game, so yeah. This is gonna take a really long time. Can I do peppers? Unfortunately this is not GIMP, so I don't have the pepper brush at my disposal. Which sucks. Yeah, Bex should do a live stream and show everyone how to use the pepper brush. She's made some lovely pepper pets for me in the past. They're pretty great. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up making them a little bit bigger as I get further down, just because I feel like it might be a little too much detail when it gets small. So I'll definitely be doing that. I just tend to get kind of caught up in the little things while drawing, which isn't necessarily a good thing. You know. In fact, I really shouldn't be zoomed in this much either while doing this, because that's dangerous. it's always best to do things like this while zoomed out quite a bit and then zoom in later. That's a good thing to remember. If you guys have any specific little things you would like tips on as well, I'm okay with, you know, stopping this for a little bit and assisting with that. Because I can't imagine this is very exciting for people watching, because I'm even bored. So excuse me. Like, everything I do gets ruined by resizing. I mean, this is gonna get a little hectic. I'm hoping I can do something really cool, like a kind of burst of magma in the orb itself on this species, but I don't know. I mean, when I got this prompt, I was initially very scared. Oh, and by the way, I can't click on any links in the screen chat very easily, so I'm not going to do that and haven't been doing that, so I have until 7:30 I time. What is this? Oh, okay. That will happen. Okay. That's good to know that there is a cutoff. Thank you for warning me. I would not have known that otherwise because I wasn't checking the Aywas thing, so that's good to know. Okay, so I have a little bit of time left. Yeah, just, you know, screw everyone else's streams. I'm just gonna stay here forever. Just color. Yeah. I mean, if anyone really wanted, I could always set up a stream on my own live stream account. But I mean, Hikaru is really great. I think that's who's going, right? Yeah, so I would recommend checking out her stream too. So do that. If anyone in the chat, by the way, could remind me when it gets close to the time to stop, that would be great, because I have a hard time looking at time. So, you might notice that while I'm drawing, a lot of times it'll kind of change between the eraser and the pen, I have my eraser thing bound to my Z key, and I just keep my hand there so that way I can switch between the two very quickly, and it helps a lot. There's a way to do it in SAI, and I believe you could probably Google how to do it. If not, you could always PM me asking for the directions specifically. It is incredibly useful to have the ability to kind of toggle between the two very rapidly. It makes things go faster. Toggle between the eraser and the thing, so I can like just go like this and then immediately go like that, just with the keystroke. They're probably not going to be too visible on the final thing, these orange lines, just because they're the top layer, and I'm probably not going to finish this actually in this stream. But that's how it goes. I'll try and get as far as I can. Yeah, the background music is from Bastion, one of my favorite games. Yeah. It's really great. It is pretty intense background music, though. I could potentially change that. I actually might. After this song. Yeah, I feel like if you were to make an animated species, it'd be really kind of expensive to make, because you'd have to get the animated crystals and then also the normal crystals, and then everyone who makes one also has to get a animated silver custom crystal and also their silver potion. Excuse me again. And that would be a little frustrating. And it'd just be kind of too expensive. Right now I'm playing a song by Aywas. I probably butchered that so bad, but he is a really great singer from somewhere in the Middle East, and I don't know exactly where, and I apologize for that. But I found him fairly recently, so he's fairly popular on YouTube. This species is the orb weavers. It is a, I guess, official species that's given to breeding artists who finish their lists on time. And you can get them as a non-breeding artist by buying an embryo pearl from a breeding artist. Once I finish the commissions I have to do, I'll probably be opening up my coloring commissions as well. If anyone's interested, I have a thread, and you can find it by searching through my threads, my account, because I have that link on my profile. Oops. And it's called Eerie Colors, so it shouldn't be too difficult to find. Itzel will be linking it in the chat for anyone who's in there currently and anyone who's watching this afterwards. Well, you can find it by going to the topics that 448 has posted, and it should be kind of close to the top. Let me go find a song. Or I guess I'll just play the songs I played earlier at the beginning of the stream because I think it's been long enough. So I'm just kind of making random squiggles. And I will be doing a bunch of layers on top of and on bottom. I'm hoping to eventually have a kind of very sharp, bright light. Sorry. Just kind of like, you know, magma. Which is what this is based off of. I'd prefer if you waited. I mean, you're welcome to talk on the coloring thread if you wanted coloring. The only situation where it'd be okay to post while things aren't open is if I gave you a coloring voucher, or if you obtained a coloring voucher some other way for Christmas, because I gave out a lot of those. In which case you'd post your form and just ignore the payment section, because that's already taken care of. There's still so much more to do. I'm like halfway done or something. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I mean, I guess a lot of this is just kind of persistence and also patience. And even if things don't look good at first, you know, they'll just work at it. Like with art in general, a lot of paintings look really bad for the first like few days or however long they spend drawing it, and then suddenly at the end they become good, so just don't get discouraged. Down a smidge, certainly. I will turn the music down. Where is the music? There we go. Is that better? Can you hear me better? I guess I should talk while asking if you could hear me better. It's a little hard to determine that if I only say one little thing, so yeah. MS Paint? Why were you doing Dragon Scaled Garus in MS Paint? Pro tip, don't use MS Paint. Like, yeah. MS Paint's never a good idea, unless you're doing just like normal drawings, I guess. because then you can't make anything breedable, which is not good. Well, apparently Tuki strongly suggests using MS Paint, but I would suggest, in all seriousness, that you get either GIMP or another program, because you'll really regret using MS Paint for things when you try and breed them, because it won't work out. Fire Alpaca also might work out. I use SAI right now. I don't know if this was specified in the news post or it was posted, but this is specifically supposed to be a stream about coloring in SAI. But I mean, some of this stuff can be applied in general. Like, this brush is fairly close to the default Photoshop brush, just with transfer applied. So if you're in Photoshop, you can just check the little transfer box and you should get a brush that behaves very similarly to this and be able to do stuff similarly, I guess. And then the tail wraps around several times, so there's that to do. I don't really have a favorite species personally. It was asked in the chat what everyone's favorite species were. I mean, I have a favorite SCC species. I have a huge thing for the quates that Figment has. But Aywas species-wise, I just generally don't like things that are metal. It's just me personally, I like edits, and I like pretty edits, so I mean, as long as something has pretty edits, I'll generally like it. I do want all the quates though, ever. If you ever have any quates for sale, definitely contact me, because I would totally buy them. Just saying. But Aloris's favorite species is Lepus, so try to get Lepus when I can for him. So yeah, stuff like that. This doesn't really have to be very perfect, and it's okay if it looks kind of messy, especially at first. I'm only doing my first layer right now, and there's probably going to be a lot of layers in this, and since there is a time limit for the stream now, I'll probably continue this on a different stream if anyone wants to watch this being continued along with Hikaru at the same time. In the Aywas stream. There's always that option. So. I could 24-hour stream, but it just couldn't be here, unfortunately. But I'll link that in the chat when it gets a little closer to the time. Which I think is pretty soon, like a little more than an hour, I think. I can save the second stream as well. The second stream will be on my livestream.com/Iridien page, which I haven't used in forever because most people like join me for streams, but live stream's nice because I can play music and also talk. I mean, I don't think my little brother's planning on doing any YouTube videos for a while, so I can probably steal his mic even longer. I stole this mic I'm using right now for my little brother. It's a blue snowball mic. Oh, I apologize for cracking my neck. I did that without considering people who might be disturbed by that. Yeah, I'm pretty bad with math too, especially when it comes to time. I was always very slow with that in first grade, I remember. I got very confused and failed the large majority of my time tests that I did. It's kind of difficult to do. Time. I might eat before I switch streams though. You actually can't see entirely what I'm doing because I do only have a portion of my screen broadcasted at the moment. So theoretically, I could be doing anything. So I don't think that logic would work. For people who watch this afterwards, Riri commented that it was obvious that she had done something because people could see what I'm doing. So, yeah. Almost done with this layer and then on to the other layer. I mean, I'm sure this will end up with like 20 or 30 layers at the end of it. And I'll probably have to go back through and kind of go through a lot of these things again, the way I'm planning to do it. But I'm hoping in the next hour I can make a bit of progress for people who watch this stream and don't watch the next one I do. Which is perfectly okay. Yeah, the chat is not recorded, but I'm trying to kind of say what I'm responding to when I can. But sometimes I'm a little forgetful because there's a lot of multitasking going on. But, I mean, sometimes stream VODs aren't too bad. Like, I'll watch gamers stream VODs. Wow, that was really awkward. Pause there. Yeah. Okay. Now for the easy part, the tail. Just kind of... Anything looks good because it's so tiny. There we go. Okay. So now I'll probably make it a bit darker. I'm making things kind of more red as I get darker and more yellow as I get lighter with this magma, and I had to use my mouse to minimize the stream thing. So I can't control that with my tablet, unfortunately, but yeah. So. Actually, I think I might end up just erasing with this. Because that might go a little bit faster. It's okay if it's not perfect with stuff like magma, because it really doesn't matter that much when it's very tiny 200x. Yeah, and especially for this layer, because it's kind of gonna be fairly not visible by the end of this because of how many layers I'm gonna end up having. For stuff that requires painting, it generally takes a lot of layers, and I assume it's probably not the most breeding friendly thing ever. I mean, I try as hard as I can by separating absolutely every what's it called? I try my best by separating every single layer that I can, but I'm sure it can get kind of frustrating. I'm probably gonna add a texture here. SAI has some textures that I occasionally use, just kind of lightly. I don't really know what this one looks like, so just trying to see. That makes everything a lot darker, so I'm just trying out the rock textures that SAI has. Sometimes they're nice. This one's okay. See how Rock 4 looks. That's why. I don't really like Rock 4. Rock 3? Yeah, Rock 3 is okay. I just want something with kind of a lot of spots, and so a lot of times the default textures can be okay. I actually really like that one. I think that one's the one I'm gonna go with. Sometimes the default textures are nice for just adding a little bit of texture to your things. Especially since I'm doing magma rocks, so. I'm gonna make this pretty light, and it's a multi-layer. I apologize, that is my alarm going off right now because someone is entering the house, not because there is some crazy person entering. I mean, like, someone is entering who is supposed to be there. Now I'm gonna go through and kind of erase around the things I did, because I want those to kind of stand out a bit more. I'm not gonna do it too perfectly because I'll be doing that later. This does look very dark right now, but I will be adding a lot of light afterwards to it, so that will hopefully make it very bright. Like magma. I'm not too worried about where I do this, just as long as the big ones keep it. Keep the texture on. So I might keep this texture on my brush. I think. I have to remember this is rock number 2. Okay. Let me do something kind of a reddish orange. The idea is to go from a kind of dark red to a lighter orange. I do like this rock texture, but I'm not going to use it for this layer, so I don't have any texture on my brush, it's just the default. And I'm just kind of going over these kind of sloppily so I can have a little bit showing on the edges, just to kind of start giving it that glow that magma would have. I don't have any layer effect on this, I'm just using orange. I apologize, that was my mom trying to bug me. Yeah. I told them I would be streaming, but I didn't know how long I'd be streaming, so I didn't really tell them exactly how long to wait to bug me. Actually, I might text her really fast and tell her that I'm busy. Just so she doesn't interrupt again, and I will go find out what she wants in between the two streams. So, yeah, so this is like the same thing I just did all over again. It's a lot of repetition with like lava, and just, you know, the more layers you add, the better. For the most part. I try not to do too many kind of color adjustment layers inside, just because I feel like Photoshop is a little bit more universal. So it's generally better to do it in Photoshop, because sometimes things don't quite come out as nice inside. And a lot of times I save in Photoshop because the SAI I am using right now is pirated. However, I do own a legitimate copy that does save files correctly. It's just annoying because I have to exit out of the non-legitimate SAI in order to get into the legitimate SAI. So I tend to just save in Photoshop because it's a little bit less effort. Sorry, just stretching my hand a little bit. It's important to take frequent breaks and stretch your hands, just so you don't have problems later on. I normally take a lot more breaks while coloring, obviously, but I'm not right now because I'm on stream, but that's okay. So yeah, if you're doing your own magma, you could also make the things a little bit bigger, and it probably would look a little better than making them so small. I don't know why I made mine so small. I just did. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. So yeah, there's how it looks so far. It's very crowded looking and actually really hurting my eyes. Right now I am doing this on a computer and a tablet, in that I am running a computer and I do have a tablet. I strongly recommend obtaining a tablet for anyone who does any digital art. If, you know, it's feasible, of course. If you can't afford a tablet, you know, you gotta make do with what you have. And it is possible to color and do edits with a mouse. I believe Beer uses a mouse, if you know their work. So it's possible. And Shawnee, I think, uses a mouse as well for coloring. I personally use a tablet though, just because it's significantly easier and I find I can get smoother lines faster. Like this would be taking a lot longer if I used a mouse. I'm probably gonna make these a little less bright later on, just so it's not quite as eye-burning yet. I'll probably make this orange I'm using kind of more reddish and replace the other one with this orange and then do a more yellow layer on top. Just in little places. And once again, I believe I said this earlier, but for people who just came in, I use a Wacom and 2S4. It does have a wire, it's not the wireless version. I've had it for a few years and it's a pretty good little tablet. I have the medium size, so it's got a nice amount of drawing space. A lot of times when choosing a tablet you end up with one that has a very small drawing space, which really isn't good for your wrists. So it's good to, if you can, get as large of a size as you need. I mean, of course you don't need one that's huge, but you know, something with a reasonable amount of space. Sorry, I'm just rubbing my hand a little bit right now. I believe there's just about 30 minutes left on the stream, if I have my times correct. I'm hoping people will catch me if I get close to the deadline and don't appear to be stopping. And my hand doesn't hurt too bad, so don't worry about that. It's okay. I will be taking a break in about 30 minutes, and it'll all be okay. Oh, I have 50 minutes. Wait, no, but I'm only going until 7:30 Aywas time. I'm not going all the way until Hikaru's time because I would like to give her some time to set up and maybe do a little intro thing if she wants to. I don't know. Okay, well, 50 minutes. I mean, math has never been my strong suit. Luckily, I'm not here to teach you guys math, because that wouldn't go over very well. Yeah, Elris always makes fun of me for my Asta math, as he calls it, because he calls me Asta. Sometimes while doing this I forget little areas and I realize, oh my gosh, I didn't do that, so I gotta go back to it. But so far it looks like it's eye-burningly okay. I mean, once again I'm going to be playing with the colors a bit and making this a little bit darker and then building up more to the light just because it's a little out there, but it is a lot easier to see working with very bright colors, and I find that stand-in colors are pretty useful at times when working on either very dark or very light bases. Especially since it's so easy to change the color of things on a computer. It's not like traditional media where you have to be more concerned about that. Sorry, it's just a lot of repetitive things and it's pretty much the same, so I don't exactly know what to say, but if anyone has any questions, they're always welcome to ask them at any point. I'm here to help you guys, not just to finish my commissions up, so don't hesitate to ask anything. I'm gonna up the min size on this just a teeny bit so that way I don't have to press quite as hard. The minimum size setting in SAI is pretty much what it sounds like. It just lets you have a minimum diameter on any brush stroke you make, so even if I press very lightly it's still... oh, I realized I can't. Even if I press very lightly it's still pretty thick. And I can make it even thicker if I would like. It was asked what pets people have in the chat, and to respond to that, I have a pet rat, and I don't have a name for her yet. I just got her. She's pretty cute. She's got Dumbo ears and cinnamon hood, and she's a little derpy, but I mean, she's nice. I'm sorry if the music is putting anyone to sleep, but I wanted to go with something that was a little more kind of quiet and subtle because I thought it would make sense, at least with me talking over it. I apologize if it's making people sleepy though. I mean, I suppose I can go find some kind of battle-themed music. I think I have a playlist of that at the ready, if anyone would like that. Yeah, I'll burst out my rap collection right now. After the song is over, I'll check out the other one and see if there's anything. The only problem I had with those songs when I listened to them earlier to decide if they would be appropriate was, excuse me, they were a little bit intense. Especially for what I'm doing, which isn't exactly the most intense thing. It's fairly repetitive and borderline boring. So yeah. As for if I enjoy drawing or not, I never really... I'm really not sure how to answer that question, just because at times I really enjoy it, but at other times it just feels really kind of boring and like a chore. And I feel like that might come from the fact that I tend to only really draw for commissions. I don't do a lot of drawing for myself or just to improve in general. Like right now, this coloring I'm doing is for a raffle winner in a raffle that I did, and do need to update actually. Sometime after this, but yeah, I just don't really do a lot of drawing for myself, and I feel like that kind of contributes to not exactly liking drawing as much. Yeah, see, there's this, which is kind of intense in the way of music, and it's also probably louder, so if I need to make myself louder or make the music quieter, I can certainly do that. I am not an admin or anything on Aywas. These streams are just kind of like users are applying for them, and then they get access to the streaming account and then are allowed to stream. So I'm just an Aywas user. Yeah, trying to wake everyone in the stream up by changing the music to kind of intense battle music, even though it's not exactly the most fitting thing. Almost done, and then I can change this layer to red and the other one to this orange, and then do the highlights and then some glows, and I'll probably be done about then. One thing about magma markings that sucks is you have to go over the same things over and over again. With something like that deer I did earlier, I just had to do the drawings once, and then it was all good. But for this, I gotta go over it a lot of times, so it takes a lot of effort. Yeah, it's battle time with this music. Sorry, I'm just stretching my hand. It is important to take breaks frequently, especially when doing kind of little tiny motions like that that require kind of gripping the pen pretty hard, so yeah. This music is really epic. I always find epic battle music in streams absolutely hilarious because it's like you're just putting down a bunch of lines and then you're playing this really intense music. Intense lines are happening. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger in brush size just so I can do stuff a little bit faster. Because I'm starting to get a little impatient with this, and I can't imagine anyone else is more patient. I think this battle music playlist is like an hour, so it's not going to end anytime soon. In fact, the stream will be ending before the battle music playlist ends, so. Okay. Oh, sorry. Gotta stretch a bit. Okay. I should have done a scare cam on this so I could make funny faces the whole time, but I don't think I have a camera on this, so... As much fun as a scare cam would have been. Yeah, I don't know if I'll finish before the end of the stream, now that there is a specific time cut out, but I'll get as close as I can. Now hopefully I remember to press the save recording button when I end this stream, because I'm so used to not saving the recordings on live stream. That would be very bad. Okay, just about done. Approaching the end of the tail there for this layer, and then I'm gonna have to go over all of this again, at least one more time. Which is a little bit frustrating, but you know, I'm hoping it'll be worth it. Yeah, I believe there's still 33 minutes left on the stream, if I did the math right. If I'm not doing my math right, I would love to be corrected a bit closer to the end of the stream, just so I don't run into Hikaru's time, because Hikaru is amazing and I'm really excited to see her stream. And since I will not be finishing this, I will repeat again in case anyone else just joined. I will be finishing this on my own live stream, and I will give the link towards the end of this. So, yeah, so you can see that as well. Though there will be a bit of time in between these two streams, because it's a lot of coloring. So I'm just changing this layer right now on top just to make it a little bit lighter, because I wanted to do more layers of, one more layer of bright colors. So, oh, I need to make this a bit brighter. I actually don't know exactly how to pronounce Aywas correctly, and I just kind of go with whatever I come up with. I do know there is an official way to say it, and I do believe it's Aywas. But yeah, so I made that a bit lighter just so I can go through and use this very bright yellow color and add little specks of it in places, and this one will go a bit faster than the last layer because I'm kind of doing it with a very dotty texture. I suppose it's sort of like making a bunch of little dots kind of sloppily and not really caring where they fall, so it does make it a bit easier. I do hope this is what the prompt was asking for. Sometimes I get a little worried when I do stuff that takes a very long time, like what if they don't like it and I spent forever on it? But, I mean, so it goes. Now I don't have the shading layer on this yet. I color generally without the shading layer on, so the shading layer will mess with this, and I'll see if it ends up good or bad. I'm hoping it turns out okay. So this will probably be the final layer, at least with the cracks. I might do a couple of kind of larger gradient layers, but I'll have to see how the shading ends up. I have played Aywas for, I think 2 years in February, so actually not that long, comparatively to some people. At the moment I'm working on a commission, not through the site, just like a normal commission. So it's not for the site, it's just for another user. But the site has been having artists streaming lately on their official stream, so that's what I'm doing right now. In case you didn't know, you know, newsflash. I did do PVC for a while though, and I will be going back to that, so anyone is welcome to add me on Aywas, Iridien 448 there. It should show up as error, because there's 3 people in the account. I am Iridien. I am the Iridien in the account. And my Skype is Iridien, IRIDIEN if you would like to add me on Skype. I like Skyping with Aywas people. So, yeah, just say you're from Aywas if you add me there. And once again, I do take commissions. My thread isn't open right now, but I do have a coloring thread that you can stock, and I'll post in it and also post in the I tag if when I open those slots. Also, if it gets kind of hard to hear, I'm gonna actually I can actually kind of adjust that a bit. Oops, I don't want to turn myself down, I want to turn this down. Okay, hopefully I made the music a little bit quieter just so you can hear me if you need to. I don't really know how it sounds on my end, so I do need feedback on that if anything's wrong. I bet that scared everyone. I can go back to the sleepy music if anyone wants. Yeah, apparently, excuse me, Riri knows everything about me, so you can always talk to her if you have questions about me. Almost done with this. There's about, I believe, 24 minutes left on the stream. I'm hoping I can get this done, or at least almost done by then. We will see. When I get to this point, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm at the foot, I'm almost done, right? And then, no, there's a lot of tail on this. Okay. Yeah, this is intense music still. I'll accept friend requests unless Riri accepts them now after the stream. Probably in the little break I'll take between streams. So yeah, this kind of thing is more time intensive rather than like actual skill requiring. Just gotta make sure you have an okay palette. Missed this part. Oh, and I don't know where these current songs are from. I'm just playing a kind of generic epic music playlist on YouTube, so I will be switching them right now actually to Emancipator songs again, the kind of quieter ones, because I don't know, I feel like it's appropriate with the stream kind of winding down now. The A is Alaris on my account. My account name is Air, A-I-R, because there is an Alaris in there, a Iridien, and a Riri. Alaris doesn't really talk as much on the on threads or really anywhere. He just kind of quietly sits there. So yeah, the areas that I mostly highlight are generally kind of the places in between things and kind of wherever it already looks light, especially on curves too. Just to kind of bring out specific portions, and the way I'm doing this is kind of a dotting motion, so that way it isn't very I don't want to like color the entire thing bright yellow because that hurts, as we saw earlier. So just kind of a little bit goes a long way with this. Yes, this is the orb weaver species, which are obtained through embryo pearls. I'm doing this as a commission right now for Need Chocolate Now. So, I can't afford one of these things myself, but Need Chocolate Now has one of them, so that's what this is. Asham did the lines. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably possible to get them from random item things as well. Which is certainly a nice random item to get, I must say. Since it's very useful and also rare. I've gotten rare items before that really just weren't very useful, and I can't sell them still. Got one of those magic custom troves, which were, before the specific event that I got it in, one of the rarest items on the site, but they don't really sell because they're just not worth it. Okay, so now I need to color the eye. I'm probably gonna do it kind of glowy as well. Just because the rest of it's really glowing. Or maybe I should just do it like really dark black. Actually, I think that might look kind of good. A bit darker. So, oh, there's an eye on that side too. Could have figured. 2 eyes. I do a different amount of coloring every day. Today I have colored 2 things, but like yesterday I only colored 1. It really depends on the amount of time I have in that particular day, and also just kind of how I feel in general. I mean, I have wrist problems, so it can make coloring things kind of difficult at times. I'm using a kind of purpley color to shade on this because I just felt like it would fit. Then I'm using kind of yellow for overlay. No, let's use luminosity for that. So, this was not an event species. The species is a, comes from an item given to breeding artists to finish 5 lists on time, and they're called orb weavers. So that's how you make them. I kind of want to add more texture to it. Just a bit of texture. With that rock number 2 texture that I liked earlier. I'll actually probably just keep this kind of purpley, because I just like the look of it. On this, I really enjoy adding kind of random colors in on top of coloring when I'm done, just because I feel like it just kind of adds something kind of interesting to it. Okay, so I think I'm just about done with this. I'll just color the lines, and then I do have the orb to do, which I won't be doing in this stream. I did not do the orb part yet. I will be doing that in a later stream after I take a short break. I'll be moving on to my Iridien stream, just for people who wanted to see more things, and I'll probably continue on there for a little bit. I will be taking a break in between, though, in between this stream and that stream, just because I need to kind of... it's a bit too much. So I'm just selecting the colors right now. There's about 12 more minutes on this stream. And then the way I color lines is I just kind of choose a very light color and go with it, and then erase until it looks okay, because I don't particularly like coloring lines, so I generally just kind of do it the lazy way and do it like this. It's a little awkward on this one just because it's got like so much stuff going on. In fact, I probably chose too light of a color. I mean, you can make any color work with this kind of technique, but it's just a little bit less work to choose a darker color. And it just makes things go kind of faster. I mean, I personally really always hated coloring lines. It was my least favorite part when it came to coloring, so when I figured out how to do this and just do it very simply, it really made me want to color more, so... Oh, is my mic back on? Yeah, it is. Anyways, I'm here for 10 minutes left, and then I will be leaving. I use a tablet for everything. If you can hear my mouse, it's just because I was quickly adjusting the mic. Someone was asking me how much longer I had IRLs. So there is that. Okay, 9 more minutes. After this stream, I will be taking a little break and then actually continuing coloring on my personal stream, which is livestream.com/Iridien. I will be posting a link in the chat when that happens in like around 8 minutes. But I also suggest that you watch, what's it called? Hikaru afterwards, who will be streaming on this official Aywas stream. And Hikaru does really amazing stuff, so I'm really excited for that, and I will probably be watching it in the other side of my screen, because I have room to do that. Okay, so finished coloring the lines on this, and I'm not going to be doing anything more in this stream. So I'll be, let me get my mouse. I will be ending the stream now. Thanks for coming. It will be continued in livestream.com/Iridien, and I will paste that link right there. And then get off, so that way Hikaru has plenty of time to figure out her stuff. Iridien. There's the link. Okay, well, see you guys later. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you have a lot of fun. So.